Hey guys, it's Brian with Retired at 40. The time is finally here. I was finally able to get my hands on the oilless scroll pump from Harvestright. These have been pretty difficult to get a hold of ever since they released them a while back. So I haven't opened this up. I'm going to do an unboxing today. I want you to see my my actual genuine reaction to the pump. We're going to set all four pumps side by side. We're going to go over just some quick specs of all four pumps. Mainly I want to put it head to head with the other oilless pump, the Eagle. I want to throw a decibel meter on it so I can see how it sizes up in comparison with the other pumps as far as how much sound it puts out. I'd also like to weigh it and then see the general footprint in comparison to the other pumps. I'd like to see how fast it can pull a vacuum. I'll give you my first impressions, the pros and cons of an oilless pump, and then of course my final thoughts coming up. So here it is, Harvestright Dry Scroll Vacuum Pump, model SVF HR-100. And I'm gonna crack this thing open because I've been waiting to do this for several days now. And if you're a freeze drying nerd like I am, this is the kind of stuff that you just get really excited about. So we have the operating manual, power cord, and here's our scroll pump. First impressions, very comparable in size to the standard pump. It's actually a little bit smaller, and out of the four, it's the smallest pump. And as far as first impressions go, I have a very good first impression. I like that it's very streamlined. I like that it's compact. It'll fit right behind or beside the freeze dryer and blend in. It looks more like part of the freeze dryer than any of these other pumps do. But I realize that looks aren't everything, so let's get some quick measurements of this thing. At the longest, this is 15 3/4. The width is going to be 6 inches, and then at the very tallest, it looks like just under 8.5 inches tall. And then as far as weight, looks like only 17.2 pounds, so pretty light as well. But I'm sure what most of you want to know is how does it compare with the other oilless pump? And to me, this is so much more compact. It's light, it's easy to deal with. A lot of people love this oilless upright pump. It's been kind of coined the Eagle. But to me, compared to this new scroll pump, this seems very cumbersome. However, this pump does feel very, very well built. This is just a smaller, more compact feeling pump with a plastic case on it. This has no plastic. This is 100% metal. You know, that's not everything, but just want to point that out side by side. So let's get some quick specs on this scroll pump. It is a 7 CFM pump, just like all of the other pumps. Good for 100 microns or better. Normal operating temperature is 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so it will be hot to the touch. I know we've talked about the other oilless pump and how that it gets extremely hot, but I have noticed that on both sides of this, it has built-in fans, so very smart. Also includes a 1-year warranty. And as far as the fittings, it's the standard fitting that all the other pumps use. The same thing, the hose is gonna be, it's gonna hook up right up to this same fitting. So what I really wanna do is give the pros and cons of this pump, which I think in order to do that, I think we need to put the two pumps side by side, the two oilless pumps side by side. But before I even do that, I really want to do a vacuum test on this. I want to do a noise test on this. I have the pump all hooked up. I did notice that this pump does not have a power button. It just communicates with the machine. In order to test this, we just need to hit this leaf right here, and then we can turn the vacuum on. And then we're just gonna let this run until it hits 3,000 millitors. We'll see how long it takes. I wanna point one thing out though. I do have a large size freeze dryer. And this pump, according to Harvestright, it can run a large freeze dryer. It's mainly intended for a small and a medium freeze dryer. So if you are considering buying this and you have a large freeze dryer, I would recommend consulting with Harvestright and let them give you a for sure answer. But this is definitely something to consider, and I don't want to recommend something that's not going to work for you in the future. And away we go. While we're doing that, I also want to test our decibels using our decibel meter. I'm going to go the same distance that I've gone in previous videos. Okay, there we go, 4 minutes and 4 seconds. So, assuming this is a fair fight in comparison to the other pumps that we've compared in the past, but it does seem like it took a while to get down to those lower millitors. But just so you have that information, there you go, 4 minutes and 4 seconds. As far as the type of sound that this produces, it's a lot less harsh than the other oilless pump. I'm mentioning a lot of the other pump videos, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a link down in the description. I'll also put a card up here to the different videos throughout the rest of this video, so you can go back and kind of review those and compare those with this pump. I'll also include this pump in a new comparison video, which I'll link down in the description and in this video as it becomes available. And in that video, I'll compare all 4 pumps across the board. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons of this pump, and then some of them will be improvements on the other oilless pump or the older oilless pump. Let's go over the pros first. The first big pro that I see is that the size has been reduced in comparison to the other oilless pump, and really just the general footprint or shadow that this casts. It's much more compact, it's much lighter. It really just seems easier to deal with in general. Second big pro that I see is that it's much quieter. Maybe not as apparent in the decibel level, but the type of noise that it produces, the actual sound that it produces, is much less harsh than the other oilless pump. It also includes a 1-year warranty, so if you had any issues within that threshold, you can send the pump back to them. They'll send you another pump, or they will fix the problem that it's having and send you the pump back. And probably the biggest and the most obvious pro that you're going to get with this pump is it's zero maintenance. You're not going to have oil changes. There's no mention of any kind of alcohol flushes or anything like that, like you would have with the oiled pump or the other oilless pump. The next big pro that I see is that the heat issue, which was an issue with the other oilless pump, has been at least helped or remedied with 2 fans on each side of this pump. That was an issue we had with this other oilless pump because it limits you on the places that you can put this oilless pump because it's putting out so much heat. This is actually the only pump of the 4 pumps available that comes with a built-in fan, so that's actually pretty cool. The heat issue, if resolved with this pump, also brings us to another point with this old oilless pump, whether or not that would be a maintenance issue in the future. This is supposed to be a maintenance-free pump, and as you know, this pump, after every 3,000 hours, it's recommended that it be sent back to Harvestright to be rebuilt. And whether or not that's an issue with this pump in the future, time will tell. This pump has not been out long enough probably for a whole lot of people to kind of chime in on that. But common sense would kind of tell you that if you can keep a pump cooler and running smoother, your longevity of the pump is most likely going to go up. So let's talk next about what I see as the cons of this pump. The first big con, and it's a con with the other oilless as well, is the price. Ouch. We're nearing the $2,000 mark for this, but depending on your situation, if you don't want to deal with oil, if you don't want to deal with just the maintenance, if you just want to throw your stuff in the freeze dryer and you don't want to screw with oil, maybe that's worth it to you. And the supply has been pretty tough on these since they've come out. Obviously, they have been very popular, and they've been there's been a wait time for them. That might change in the future. My last con on this is pretty circumstantial, and time will tell, and that's going to be the maintenance of this pump. This pump has not been out long enough, and we haven't had enough freeze dryers that have put hours and hours and hours, you know, thousands of hours on this to see if this is totally maintenance free. I know on the oiled pumps, they're tried and true. I've run thousands and thousands of hours on the Premier pump. I love that pump. I know that the oiled pumps will last for a very long time because they're oiled, they're lubricated lubricated constantly, they run cool, they run smooth. Will this withstand the test of, you know, thousands and thousands of hours? We just don't know yet. And maybe the best and easiest way to find out what people's experiences are, instead of just my opinion, you can ask tens of thousands of people, join the Facebook or the MeWe group, and you can ask thousands of members their opinion on this scroll pump, people that own this pump and have been using it for several months or up to a year now. And if you like our content, make sure you give us a thumbs up, because it really tells YouTube where they should send these videos to. If you really want to stay up to date with my experience with this pump, I'll be running this pump exclusively in the next 5 to 10 videos. So subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notifications of future videos that'll come out. And also, if you like these videos and you're considering buying a freeze dryer, the easiest way to say thanks to us for making this content is by using our affiliate link when you purchase a freeze dryer. That'll be located down in the description. And when you use that affiliate link, it helps us provide this YouTube content. It enables us to buy things to review, such as this oilless pump or new freeze dryers, the newest and the best things that come out with freeze drying. So help us help you, and just use that affiliate link if you're considering purchasing a freeze dryer. So here's kind of my final conclusion of this pump so far. So my first impressions, and not having experienced this pump before today, are pretty much all good ones. I really like that there's a lot of improved things from the other oilless pump. I like that it's a smaller size. I like it's compact. I like that it fits the look of the rest of the freeze dryer. I like that it's quieter. I like that it's considered maintenance free, and it actually is maintenance free. I really like that there's fans incorporated into this pump. It just goes to show you that Harvestright is always trying to improve the product. Even though they don't necessarily have to improve it, they're always trying to better themselves, which to me speaks volumes about the company. I hope that in the future these pumps are more readily available, and I'm sure that that will happen as supply and demand adjust through time. And more than anything, I hope that I was able to give you as much information as I could. Hopefully I answered all your questions today if you're considering buying this pump. And if you have something to add to the video, or if I didn't answer a question, you can always reach out in the comments section. The Facebook or the MeWe page is also a great resource for that. Don't forget to check out our upcoming videos comparing this pump with all of the other pumps, as well as my experience using this pump for the next 5 to 10 cycles. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. We'll catch you next week.